Mohammed Hijab is a Muslim philosopher, scholar,
He is
and
he's a very good debate lord, though.
whose first appearance on the show was viewed by more than 8 million people. Rabbi Shmuley has been called the most famous rabbi in America. He is the international best-selling author of Kosher Hate and The Israel Warrior. Both men are passionate, both men are influential, and they both have vehemently opposing views. Tonight, they go uncensored and head-to-head. We're bringing together two very opinionated, passionate, influential people, very opposing views, and we're going to have a proper debate, and we're going to see if somewhere...
It's so funny to have Piers Morgan moderate a proper debate. Okay.
There is perhaps more that we can agree on than we first imagined. So thank you for joining me, gentlemen. We tossed a coin before we came on air tonight, and actually you won the toss, and you said you want to go second.
I defer to my brother.
And the way this will work, Mohammed, we have 4 sections of this debate, and at the start of each one, you'll both get 1 minute uninterrupted to say what you want to say about each of the themed titles of each block. So you go first, and at the end of your minute, you'll hear a sound, and when you hear that, you end, and then Rabbi Shmuley gets his chance to speak. So the first theme is a simple one. Are Hamas to blame? You have a minute, Mohammed, from now.
From one perspective, Hamas started the battle because obviously from October 7th, even they themselves title it Tufan al-Aqsa or the flooding of al-Aqsa. But from another perspective, if you really look at it from an international law perspective, we're talking about 1967, we're talking about Syria Resolution 242, in which it is actually stated that Israel is in a belligerent state because they're occupying the West Bank, East Jerusalem and Gaza.
True.
And they have been, so therefore the war has been continual for a very long time according to international law. But let's remove Hamas from the situation altogether. Let's remove them. What do you have? You have the West Bank. And what do you have in the West Bank? You have 187 children who have been put in prisons. They have been put in prisons, according to Bet Salem, without charge. You have 44 children before October the 7th that have been killed before October the 7th in just 2023 alone. So if you remove Hamas from the equation, what you have the West Bank. You remove dominance from the equation, you have the West Bank, and what do you have? You have occupation, you have settlement, which you condemned, rightfully so. You condemned that on your show. The settlement's there.
Okay. Rabbi Shmuley, 1 minute to respond.
Resolution 242 in the UN.
The fuck?
Doesn't mention a single thing about aggression or aggressor, that is fabrication, and it speaks about disputed territories. But let's be clear. The occupier of Gaza is Hamas. They won an election in 2006, had a civil war.
Wait, what do you mean won an election? They did win an election.
With Mahmoud Abbas, took the Palestinian Authority officials, threw them off buildings, killed Muslims, killed Arabs. Mahmoud Abbas is afraid to go to Gaza. He's terrified of Hamas.
God, he's so bad. This stuff is so... I mean, this is so easy to make mincemeat out of, okay? That was America's doing. It was America's design. No, but Palestinians have never had, like, the autonomy to be able to conduct elections. Why can't they do one now? Okay?
Hasn't been there since 2007. And let's be clear, Hamas is an abomination to Islam. Sultan Salah al-Din, the greatest Muslim conqueror of all time, after whom the main artery in Gaza is named, he said that you have to allow all prisoners to be redeemed. He would never hold hostages. And remember, Islam is about fair treatment of prisoners of war. Hamas beheaded Thai non-Jewish workers. You asked in your last appearance here for real first-hand sources. I'm the first-hand source. I saw it in Kibbutz Alumim. They raped women. They had sex with dead women's bodies. They are evil and do...
What? I'm sorry. Yo! Dude, he is nutty, dude.
Do the right thing and call them evil.
All right, we've had a minute each. Okay, we've got a passionate start. Mohammed, let me ask you about Hamas.
I think that's... So, for the record, I think Rabbi Shmuley hitting that fucking bar makes him look utterly unhinged to the average person. Like, I think he went way above and beyond. Now, that is the difference between Hasbara propaganda that those who want to defend the state of Israel have basically maintained for, I don't know, the past like 30, 40 years, that was like uncritically reported on, versus like what people's perspectives are now. There's no way you could just hit that fucking line like that at a time when, like, I think is far higher than the average Islamophobia of the average person. You have to build up to that.
The fact that you actually condemned...
Motherfucker said he watched Hamas people, like, rape corpses, dude. That's an insane thing to say. It's, guys, you know what this is like? This is exactly like forgetting the top of the hour ad break and running it at 2:30 instead of at the top of the hour. You know what this is exactly like? It's like Matt Walsh and his inability to read the room because of his zealotry. Okay? Matt Walsh is so transphobic that he is off-putting to, like, the average person who demonstrates a level of transphobia, okay? When you are so transphobic that you're constantly yelling about, like, children's genitals being cut off or whatever the fuck, the average person hears that and goes, I don't really understand. Like, these people are kind of weird. Like, trans people are kind of weird, but, like, you're fucking gross, dog. You're being gross right in front of me right now. Why are you talking about this shit? And while I, of course, maintain that there are a tremendous number of Islamophobic people in the Western world as a consequence of their social conditioning that justifies the actions of their states historically, but specifically during the war on terror. When you say a lie like that, you're going to be off-putting to a lot of people. People are going to go, that's insane. I don't really like Muslims and I'm scared of them, but I think this guy's out of his mind.
The settlements is very good, but people want to know, do you think the IDF are a terrorist organization?
No.
You don't think they're a terrorist organization? Okay, well, if you look at the UN definition of terrorist organization, they say killing civilians for political gain.
You asked me my opinion.
No, but if the UN definition, according to the UN definition, it's killing civilians for political objectives. Why are they not terrorist organizations?
Well, you've asked me a straight question. I don't think they are a terror organization.
So when you see babies like this, the ones who kill babies like this are not terrorists.
It's horrific.
So the people who kill babies like this are not terrorists.
Well, let me respond.
Yes.
Let me respond. We'll both,
it's not your turn.
You can both get into this. Here's my response to that. And I thought carefully about this. I've been very honest about my own feelings. I have a real moral quandary about this because as a father,
Because I want to defend Israel, but also Israel's doing indefensible things.
hate these scenes of kids being killed in Gaza. It's horrific, right?
You're making it hard for me to defend Israel.
I'm about to explain to you what I think my position is. My position is after what happened on October the 7th, it was so barbaric, so disgusting.
So you can kill children?
Well, no, what you can do...
That's exactly what terrorists say, by the way.
Let me answer your question.
This is not a debate. This is someone else becoming the host of the show and now interviewing you. I thought we're being interviewed. Mohammed, you and I are being interviewed. You're not here to interview him.
You're going to have your chance.
Mohammed, you can put it down.
Don't make him lose control of his own show. You do this all the time. I'm not going to let it happen tonight.
All right, Rabbi, let me answer...
Please have respect for the...
No. Stop interviewing the interviewer and be respectful. And be respectful.
Dude, this man does not know what respect is, okay? If it smacked him in the fucking face, he wouldn't know it. Get the fuck out of here. Rabbi Shmuley is not that good of a debater. I mean, he's a very good media personality. Been around for a while. I mean, big time Trump guy, right? But like him crying about decorum is pretty funny in this circumstance because like he literally, you saw how he opened up on Jank.
Tell me, is it a terrorist organization or not?
No.
Why not?
I do not believe so.
They kill civilians for political objectives.
You have to let me answer.
Go ahead.
Okay. Here's my answer to that. When Hamas did what they did, two things. One, Hamas knew exactly what Israel's response would be. They knew they would come incredibly hard back.
I don't absolve them.
Wait a minute. I'm not absolving anybody.
I'm not absolving them.
Yeah, okay.
I'm saying the West Bank is West Hamas.
I know.
West Hamas.
You have to let me answer.
You've got 44 children killed like this in the West Bank.
This is ridiculous.
Wait a minute, Rabbi Shmuley. Let me just answer you quickly.
Go ahead.
I believe Israel has a right to defend itself from after that terror attack.
But can they kill children?
Wait a minute.
Can they?
Wait a minute. Particularly after the Hamas spokesman only last week said if they want to do this again and again and again. That's an existential threat to Israel.
Why don't they fight them man to man? Man to man. Fight them man to man. Why do you have to kill children?
Wait a minute.
Why do you have to kill?
Fight them man to man. No shot.
Let me answer you, Mohammed.
Why?
Let me answer you.
Of a ratio of 100 to 1, by the way.
Let me answer you.
100 to 1 ratio.
Let me answer you.
Go ahead.
Otherwise, it's pointless.
Go ahead.
So, I agree that Israel must defend itself. I agree.
Why is Piers defending Shmuley's position? Because he's dick riding Israel, but it's like becoming harder and harder to maintain a position that could be seen as charitable while doing that at a time when, 11,000, 12,000 children are 11,000, 12,000 Palestinians are killed. It's too difficult. it's too difficult for Piers to maintain an ounce of credibility in the situation and not like admit that this is ridiculous.
They have to get rid of Hamas because Hamas is wedded to an ideology of existentially removing Israel.
Is this acceptable?
Wait a minute. I'm coming to your answer.
Is this acceptable?
I'm coming to your answer.
Chat, you can't see it from that angle.
This is not even.
It's not. Hold on. They don't blur it from every. They don't blur it in every angle. I don't think. But it's not. Anyway, it's. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. Just shut the fuck up. Let's continue.
Conversation.
Wait a minute.
Listen, I came all the way from the United States for this debate.
Let me finish.
And he will not let anyone else speak. And if that's how these shows work, no. You are rude. You are a bully. You just are trying to interrupt people. I'm going to have a chance to speak, or there's no point in doing this show. He did this last time, and you allowed him to, but I won't allow him to because I will never be bullied by a bully.
At the moment,
let me be clear.
Wait a minute. No one's allowing me to answer your question.
Go ahead, sir.
And it's this. I believe Israel has a right to defend itself.
Okay.
I agree that they need to get rid of Hamas.
Who
are terror groups.
In this way.
Well, here's the quandary for me morally, right? Hey,
with Hamas, it's not a quandary.
I'll tell you why. Because in war, when you declare war, as Britain did with the Nazis,
100-to-1 ratio.
No,
100
of course,
to 1.
There are
combatant to non-combatant ratio.
There are a far higher number of children in Gaza, proportionate to population, than almost anywhere in the world.
Piers,
so when they go after Hamas,
give me a chance.
Very sadly, Mohammed, let me finish. Very sadly,
you are the one who insisted on equal time. I never did, but you will not respect equal time.
I will come to you literally in 30 seconds.
He's going to ask you your
question. In 30 seconds, I'll come to you.
He's going to come to you afterwards.
Let me finish, please. I am in charge here, Mohammed. So my final point on this is, unfortunately, in war, civilians
100
get
to
killed.
1 ratio. 100 to 1 ratio.
Yes.
100 to 1 ratio.
Yes, they get killed.
No, not 100 to 1 ratio. It's an unacceptable ratio.
Get killed.
Piers, listen.
Rabbi Shmuley, in you come.
You know, Piers, can I say respectfully, and I mean this as no insult, I'm amazed that you're intimidated by this man. I feel, well, with all due respect, if I can speak,
I wouldn't bring him back if I was intimidated.
If I can speak.
And he raises a very valid question, by the way.
No, he does not, because I have before he
Rabbi
did this debate,
Shmuley is losing Piers.
On X on Twitter and said, I'm only doing it if there's equal time. And then he is violating that. I never asked for equal time. I just want to be heard. But he won't even let me be heard. Let me explain something to you. You said in a video the other day, and you can look me in the eye, you said that Jews are now trembling. Mohammed, I am not. No, don't interrupt me. I am not trembling. It's all on my Instagram page. Now, you see this yarmulke? It means that I represent something. I'm an ambassador. You're an ambassador of Islam. You are talking about a religion that started the world's first universities, educated women. Fatima started the first university in the 9th century in Fez, Morocco.
Irrelevant.
Now we have a man who says that he's a representative of Islam.
He's meant to be speaking to you, right?
He goes to Speaker's Corner. He speaks about whether 5-year-old girls are old enough for sex. He says that gay men are dying of AIDS as a punishment from God. And I'm sorry to have to say this.
Yeah, by the way, this is Rabbi Shmuley's move, it seems. Is just like, don't address the talking points, immediately fucking engage in character assassination. And I don't know anything about Mohammed Hijab and his background, but I suspect, knowing what I know about Cenk and what he said about Cenk, he's just probably lying.
To the listeners, that blood is gushing from their backsides. They're better off. You know what it is? Because you are desecrating a great religion. Now, let me tell you why. Let me tell you why it's here. Because he will defend. I will. He will defend Hamas's butchery, savagery. He doesn't care that Hamas is an abomination to Islam because Islam,
but he hasn't done
the children in Gaza are dying because Hamas uses them as bulletproof vests.
Okay.
The United States and France and England said yesterday that the Al-Shifa hospital is a military base.
Okay.
It has a tiny veneer.
Let him have his minute.
It has a tiny veneer of emergency rooms.
Okay.
A minute.
But underneath all of it is a military base.
You have a minute.
And let me tell you something. If it's true that any of these countries care about the Muslims in Gaza because they believe what he's saying, that Israel's killing them, this is a map of all the countries that took place last week in Riyadh to save the Palestinians of Gaza from Israel. Do you know how many? That's Israel, a tiny thing. You know how many of them took in even one Palestinian from Gaza? Zero, nothing.
All right.
Look at that map.
Let me-
because they
Stop
want
pointing,
to.
stop
The
pointing.
Arabs
Let
want
me-
to see.
all right,
No, I'm
Rabbi
pointing
Shmuley.
the
Hang on.
Arabs want to see
Stop pointing.
Rabbi
Hamas.
Shmuley.
Stop pointing. Stop
Don't
pointing.
intimidate me. Don't bully
Okay,
me. Thank
okay,
you, Mohammed.
let me ask you-
Don't intimidate me.
Stop pointing.
I'm not
Guys,
afraid of
I've
you.
got to be able to ask
Thank
questions.
you.
It's a debate.
Let him
Let's
have
come
one
back.
minute,
let me
he's
ask you
insistent.
one specific question which he raised, which I don't think actually is your belief. I don't think you have defended what Hamas did on October the 7th.
Yeah, I haven't.
I think you share our
Are they
view.
evil? Are they
Unless
evil?
I'm wrong.
Are they
spoken
evil?
about this
Are
before.
they evil?
Stop
Are
speaking.
they
Is it me
evil?
or him I'm
Are
speaking
they
to?
evil?
Stop
Rabbi
speaking to
Shmuley,
this. Stop
Hamas
speaking.
you're now
evil.
doing
Stop
what you
speaking.
accused him of doing.
Stop
so
speaking.
let me ask you, what is your view of Hamas post-October 7th?
I think that they, just like anybody else, have to be examined. Have to look at all.
What's
the
your
pros and cons.
opinion about them?
Yeah, I think that here's my opinion. Let me be straightforward about this, right? Anybody who kills civilians, anybody, whether it's the IDF, I'm consistent in this manner. If it's proven beyond reasonable doubt that these people have killed civilians in both of our faith traditions, in Islam and Judaism, in the Quran is mentioned, in the Prophet, he said it himself, you cannot kill a woman, you cannot kill a child. I condemn them. I condemn them. That's what I do. Straight away, whether he's Muslim, whether he's non-Muslim, whether he's Christian or anybody else. I've already said that. So I'm not being inconsistent here. My question is, if that is exactly the barometer that we're using, if that's the moral reasoning that we're using, then we have to say, look, if you have a 100-to-1 ratio, and that's what it is, a 100-to-1 ratio. And do you know how I got this figure? I got this figure from the IDF themselves because they have reported
Okay,
to
but
the...
let me ask you this. Does Hamas deserve to stay in power after what they did?
I don't think we should have Hamas in power. What I think we should...
Okay.
No, let me tell you...
So how
we should have...
How do you get rid of them?
We should have a Palestinian Authority with bigger armies and airports with proper tanks and with airplanes like every country in the world.
You know what? You might be right. But here's the
Absolutely.
point.
They won't allow it.
How do you get
The Israelis won't allow
How do you
that.
get rid of Hamas?
What you don't do, I can tell you for a fact, is try and kill 30,000 of them with a 100-to-1 ratio. Because if you do that, then you're committing genocide. Because you'd have to kill 3 million Palestinians.
Rabbi Shmuley?
Do you even know the definition of genocide? What's
I haven't
the
said
definition?
genocide.
What's it? You just said it.
No, I said
it.
if you.
What is the definition of genocide?
I
What's
said
the definition?
conditional. I said if you do it.
You always
conditional.
claim to be an
Conditional.
academic. You're always touting
Conditional.
your Oxford credentials.
Conditional.
What is the definition
Conditional.
of
All right.
genocide?
He said conditional.
Conditional.
Genocide
If you
is
do
where.
it, I said
Genocide
if you
is
do it,
where.
you'll be genocidal.
Genocide is where.
I didn't accuse.
you target an ethnicity for extinction. Ethnicity side murder.
Yes, if you.
Yeah. Okay. Ethnic displacement is also a part of this, though. Like, ain't nobody out here around these parts is going to be like the Armenian genocide wasn't a genocide, or Manifest Destiny wasn't a genocide. It was. Forcible replacement of an ethnic group from an entire, like a civilian population from an area, forcibly relocating them to another area is still definitionally a part of genocidal strategies. Also, the definition of genocide isn't like, oh, you hit the certain number and now it's officially a genocide. Ding, ding, ding. No, that's actually a post hoc definition that you add. And the reason for why we have that definition is so that we don't do it ever again, which is why it's perfectly permissible to consider something like this, especially when Israel has demonstrated intent, to be a forcible ethnic cleansing and ethnic displacement campaign. They've said as much time and time again. Okay? It's not a genocide once it's like fully implemented.